Welcome back to Trekyards, everybody. He is Commander Cocking.
He's Captain Foley.
And it's time for another finale discussion review. Today we're talking about the finale for Season 4 of Lower Decks. This one is called Old Friends, New Planets.
Which now makes sense. I saw that as a title thinking, but now retrospect, I'm like, oh. Well, I guess old friends into new planets would be something to be into in the middle. Stuart, is this the epic finale? That's the question we asked last week. Last week was a setup, which in itself was sort of a payoff, with a reveal. Had this longer episode of Lower Decks. It's a full 30 minutes. Compare. How'd you feel, Stuart?
I thought this was an epic episode. I really enjoyed the hell out of this one. I don't think the setup needed to be as long as it did last week. But we got immediate action. We got lots of ships. We got a lot of cool stuff. And I'm super happy about that. I really enjoyed this one. Nick was the perfect amount of evil, I guess. And I really love some of the twists, like with the Ferengi cloaking or the Ferengi Genesis device. Would have been... It should have actually required Latinum to start the countdown. But we're... whatever. That's fine. But and the planet that got formed should have been named Nova Planet, in my opinion. But hey. Anyway, this was a fun one. We got to see acting captain Brad Boimler, an Orion battleship, like a captain's yacht. This was Star Trek 2 all over again, and it was glorious. Seeing a Steamrunner class used as well was fantastic. So there's a lot here I really, really enjoyed, and the ending with Tendi was a little bit of a downer, but at the same time, I don't think that's going to last too long for season 5. So I'm not too concerned about it, but overall, I think it was a fun episode, and we got a flashback to the Academy days. We even had Will Wheaton returning as Wesley Crusher. So there's a lot here to love, and I was just I enjoyed the hell out of this one. This was a good one, in my opinion. This is like this season's movie episode, even though we didn't really get an official movie episode this season. So yeah, there you go. That's my thoughts on it. How about you? Did you enjoy it?
It is the best of the season. Which is great to finally say that, because we held our bet, hedged our bets for other episodes, because we're like, yeah, that's good, yeah. But this is actually kind of shows how somewhat weaker last week was. That this is very focused, very dynamic. It's not really funny. It's very, modern. This is them trying to make a proper episode, like an actual proper action adventure episode that isn't animated in that form. So it has a really different feel to it. And obviously I was right in the sense last week, or a couple of days ago, prediction that I said it couldn't be because they wouldn't do it. But I said, obviously have a flashback. But you'd have to hire these people back again. And
you say that all the time about flashbacks, so...
Yes, well I do, because they normally would be there for a reason. And for once, they rose to the challenge and they hired back Sito, which means they actually did get to come back while still being dead. And obviously Locarno's in it, and obviously Will Wheaton's Crusher, and then to get the Mariner subplot, that's thematically really, really meaningful. We got to meet Josh finally, who died in the episode, so we finally got the pre to that, to then the closing to that arc, etc. So that was good, because that felt like, because to hire Will for 7 lines, that's going to be a lot of money. He's going to charge you quite a lot of money, right? He knows how famous he is in Trek world, and the C2 actress for a few scenes, that is them actually putting money where the concept is, which they could have avoided or done. But having, designing, building all those new 3D assets, the bridge asset, this was money being spent to build everything, which a lot of episodes of the season have not felt that. They've actually felt a lack of that. So I appreciate, here we go. This last week feels smaller because this one's so big. Although we didn't get any Bird of Prey, Star Trek 4, we kept control of it, which I was like, oh, that's a waste of that epic setup. But you sort of forget about it going into this week, but that was a huge setup. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, I did forget about it.
Oh, well. But obviously, yeah, my God, it's literally Wrath of Khan. It's Star Wars Return of the Jedi with a Superstar Destroyer blowing into the thing. There's a whole lot of shots from the sequence in the ice field as Titan AE. Almost some shots verbatim felt like. So that was a callback. There's lots of visual things from other things, including Wrath of Khan music and so Genesis and TNG, is a lot of stuff in a piece. I'm glad it was longer, but it does make me wish they'd kind of spread some of it to last week to make it feel more like a two-parter versus a low-end setup and a really high-end end. Because we said everything had to be here, and they did put everything.
Like I said, the setup was a little bit of a... Like, I agree with you. They should have put some of this stuff in last week's. So
would have given you more time to do more this week. Like I actually watched the entire credits thinking there'd be a post-credit sting, because it doesn't leave you with, I want to watch next season. It's shockingly final, and there's no, that's not a cliffhanger. It's just a goodbye, Tendi. Like, that could be her leaving the show as well. It doesn't leave you wanting more in the sense of, it's such a clean wrap-up. And I kind of thought it'd be a double twist with how they played the ending, this other lieutenant's or Mariner's getting second promotion, or something else was going to happen, but nothing else happened, which was pretty anticlimactic. It was such a big episode, especially they tend to have a cliffhangery, wow, next season. It's fine, it's just...
I mean, like I said, I don't think it's going to be long in season 5 before we get Tendi back. Probably the first episode.
Yeah, knowing the rest of the show, yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I thought they had forgotten about the Tendi going to Orion thing for a second there, because of the way they're like, let's go celebrate, and I'll be your science bestie and all that. And I was like, huh? But yeah, I think it ended fine, but I was waiting for that post-credit sting. And even with the way they did the end credits with like the warp field,
implies something.
There's going to be something at the end, and nope, sadly no.
Or like a Section 31 ship is going to decloak in the same warp field, and we're going to turn and pass it, and Boimler's on. He's like,
yeah, we got no Section 31 Boimler at all this season.
And certainly, now having seen the entire season, while they failed to set up Locarno and his ships and his fleet, they did put the elements of the resolution throughout the season. So that was nice. Having the sister, being logical, not doing the Genesis device setup, like all that stuff was set up in the sense of they set a chessboard. You could not possibly have guessed the pieces were going to get used, which normally is how you do a setup and a payoff. You imply, you infer, but at least there was a board to pick from, but it would not be called setups to an ending. It was just like, let's just pull elements from the season. Okay. But at least they were there. At least Although I did find myself very quickly bored of Orion stuff. I didn't need that fight, the arena fight. I thought that was the lowest point by far. You had amazingly interesting stuff with Mariner, and then very, very, very mediocre. I don't need a cage fight.
Well, yeah, I agree. I didn't enjoy the Orion stuff as much as they probably thought we should. And I would question, and I would argue in a court of law that in fact Miglimo won that fight. But just because she fell on him, that doesn't...
Well, he did die.
He didn't.
He got splattered. Die. He's dead. I mean, you can't win if you die. Clearly, Stuart, you see him, he's dead.
No, he's... I would argue that he won that fight, personally. But hey, maybe that's how they're going to get Tendi back.
I mean, but I liked that was a sort of twist in the twist. You knew the convention of how that scene was going to play out. Nah. He lost anyway. What? So that was a twist, but you didn't need that scene. Just off yourself up. Like I say, like the ship stuff was great, as in the Orion battle cruiser, great. The twist was great. Like the first scene with her sister, the battle scene, but the middle bit, cut it. There's more stuff you could have done, like more with, give more to Locarno, give more, longer flashback, give a double ending. That I don't know. When the thing's so well packed, seeing the weakest part really sticks out.
But I mean, other than that, seeing a Steamrunner class in action, getting a new bridge, was great.
Well, obviously, new bridge. The oldest of bridges, which I do love, them using the redress fallacy of, we're just using the Enterprise C bridge again.
Yeah, just
cool.
a battle bridge.
But it's great. It means I can now, in fan films, I've got that bridge for another film, I can now include a steam runner somewhere, because that's often a problem of how do you... Inventing bridges is the kit bash vibe Trek. Now I can justifiably throw a steam runner in, and it has a really old bridge module, because that's really old bridge module for a newer ship. But that's okay, it's cool to see.
And we got some new tech with the Trinar force field. Trinar, what a stupid name, but it's a great name. I loved it.
But the force field was cool. That's the problem. It was such a big concept to introduce on the last episode. So he's creating a non-federation federation where not member worlds, but people get to join and just be equals. And then what? And they're just going to be in a system with the force field? Is the plan to hang out and drink? Because as soon as they attack anybody, they'll have war with somebody and there's not enough of them to do anything meaningful. What was the point of it? Apart from just to be free, but then why then Starfleet would be like, damn it, they're a huge threat, we have to go stop them. Are they? They've just got a few ships. Like, they had, 10 ships?
Well, that's why the Genesis device was the bargaining chip.
For sure.
It whenever or wherever he needed to.
But that turns him from a collection of people into a genocidal maniac, potentially. Which, why has he jumped from here to, like, out of my frame? Because why is that why are you threatening world domination just because you got some stragglers? It's like you're a pirate group, but you're just going to sit there and relax? I mean, I know saying, like, come and join the fleet, but say he gets another 20 ships. Starfleet's got one armada can snuff that out easily, sorry. You know, send 10 Defiants and 4 Prometheuses, that fleet ain't going to survive. Without Genesis, of course. Like, I don't... They had the setup, and then Mariner escaped, and then it all became relevant, right? There was no payoff to his storyline.
The thinking there is that the Genesis device is in fact the bargaining chip. Like, as long as he has that, nobody's going to attack them because he could use it to retaliate. So, yeah, I don't know what the plan was as far as anything beyond that goes, but I can understand why he wanted the Genesis device just to have in his back pocket.
Well, he's just got a giant force field that he's generating somehow, which is incredibly advanced. It takes a mammoth of a starship, which ships are not that big. That's bigger than a Borg cube. That is bigger than anything you've seen, pretty much, like, of normal species. But I guess he just wants to hang out and chill out. But then he's been attacking. But he hasn't been attacking. He's been, because the thing is, the ship didn't attack any ship. They went, and then the crew's mutinied. So he didn't attack anybody because no weapons were fired. They made a point that they're all bloodless coups, so they can't even use that. It's like, people are allowed to mutiny. So in fact, the Genesis thing makes him the target. If he didn't have the Genesis bomb, then there'd be no reason to attack him. But then obviously had, like, Klingons to say, well, we'd hate him. It's weird. It was a half-baked idea. I think they knew what they were going for, but they couldn't put it on the screen. If it had been 2 episodes, they could have talked about it. But they didn't have 2 episodes, so kind of, now I'm thinking about it, falls flat a bit.
Well, they did have 2 episodes. They just wasted the first one.
Yes.
The other thing I really appreciated was seeing an Andorian crew, a Temerian crew. That was kind of neat. I wish it would have been expanded upon a little more, but we got to see a Tal guy, a Tal Temerian, which was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
More Lower Decks listening to the message. I like that.
Which I liked as the theme of this. You know, there was no theme this season until you get this episode. Yeah, the guy that, although he's a dick, so you can't really relate to him as a lower decker because he was in academia. He never got to be a lower decker, right? And then after anyway. But yeah, the idea of, yes, all lower deck people could be great in their own right if given the chance, or that's what, career paths are for. So, showing all the lower deck crew is great, and that's been a common, all the lower deck crew of all the ships, they mutinied, which we did get a sense of for the most part in this season. So that was definitely fun, and again, they built loads of things. That's what's cool about this one. It feels big, broad, open, epic, but crammed into one episode. You had 2, you wasted the first one.
I think my favorite part was Rutherford being, he looks just like Tom Paris. I don't see it. They're identical.
No, I don't see it. We said they had to address it, and they did. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it.
That got a good laugh out of me for sure.
Which is funny, of course. It's doubly funny when you remember that Boimler is a Tom Paris fan who has a plate of him and met him and hung out with him.
It's like me and you almost. I'm like, this voice actor didn't sound like themselves. You're like, yeah, he totally did. I'm like, no, he didn't. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, that guy looks like the guy I idolize. No, he doesn't. It's one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was good to have the guy that's a fan. Or they could have had Tom Paris show up. Because that would have been even funny, if at the end the US XYZ and Lieutenant Commander Paris is there and he's helping. Entirely random. And then he walks in and Rutherford's like, Locarno? Who? No, this is Paris.
Oh, no, Locarno survived.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been, because you already have him there. You could have hired him just to do that, just to be funny, right? It's fine, right? It's fine. Just that would have been the post-credit sting, having them meet up with a Galaxy class and have a meeting, and Paris walks in and it's like, I would just said Locarno. That would have been the sting, right? I'm just here to have about warp drive. Read Tom Paris. Which I gotta give Robbie credit. I didn't feel Tom Paris at any point from the performance. which is a hell of an impressive feat because they're the same goddamn actor, essentially the same performance at Phase 1, changed throughout the years, but I didn't feel Paris, so good for him.
Yeah, the only thing that was Tom Parisi was the whole, you like the ship? I designed it myself. No Starfleet carpeting or wood paneling here.
Gotta mention the carpet.
Tom Paris designed the Delta Flyer, so I mean...
I think there was wood in there. Now, how do you feel that Sito wasn't brought back from the dead and undone?
Good in a way. I mean, you don't want to necessarily undo like a great piece of, storytelling that somebody else did. So
we hate Picard then for Nemesis undoing Data's death.
Oh, whatever.
Oh, sorry. You said great storytelling. Sorry, misheard you.
Yes,
but
So yeah, I could have gone either way with that one. I was a little disappointed. Like, it just, considering that she got killed by Cardassians and that Thomas Riker was in a Cardassian prison,
oh yeah,
that's like fertile ground for for storytelling, and they didn't even tap into it, and that's fine. I mean, but yeah, I mean, just leave Lower Decks the impact of that alone. That yes, she died. I still respect that. So I could have gone either way on it, and it didn't really bother me one way or the other. So,
well, that's what I said at the start. The fact that she was in the flashback allowed you to have your cake and eat it too. You were able to give her a meaningful scene. It wasn't mega meaningful because she's not a very deep character, really. Like, she's okay. You know what I mean? There isn't that much to pull from, nor in the 12 lines she had. But it was like, yes, the crew are there. You brought it back to life. You re-experienced it. And importantly, Mariner, we have a distinct point. We now know she was 18 the year of that episode. She's about Will Wheaton's age, or Wesley Crusher's age, bar a year or two, because Wesley might have been a year younger, don't know. But she's about, I think it's in math, she's about 31 in Lower Decks. So I think, because someone said early on that her and Brad are the same age in the first episode. It's like, no, she's 7 years older, minimum. And I'll have to go through that math again, because, yeah, she's... That's cool. You know exactly when.
Yeah, young doe-eyed Mariner.
Yeah.
Well excited.
That must have been like her almost first day, because she literally hasn't done a course yet. And then Xindi! Hey, mentioning Xindi finally. Good. Include them, because now they're in TNG. Because that's technically a TNG episode. Good stuff. And that was nice. Do I say it again? At the end, it feels like we now have Mariner moving forward, but I've said that 3 times this season alone. You know, that we had her go past a demon, and then she did the stupid stuff again. So I felt like maybe she's finally past it.
I think she's past it now.
But it's been 3 times this season. But if this is finally past it, then season 5, now we know her start point.
Now she's going to be ambitious again and want to be captain, like the best captain. So she's going to be going for those promotions. She's going to be playing the game, as it were. So, yeah. Although
it's interesting, if the friend who she may have had a crush on or is a captain at this age and she's 31, that means... I've always said I'm too young to be a captain. That means, in theory, if I go by that logic, I could be a captain next year. I've now reached the age of captaincy. So it sounds young to me, 31, because to go from ensign or to go from academy to captain in... or ensign to captain in 9 years is very quick, I feel like.
Yeah, but you're forgetting the Dominion War. They lost a lot of crews and a lot of captains, so they would be promoting people a little bit more, so.
But it's just interesting now. I guess I'm finally of the age of a captain, so you can't use that against me now. Oh dear.
Anyway. No, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a hell of a lot of fun, and of course we got a lot of ship stuff, which I loved, and the parallels for Wrath of Khan, the exact same shots, like the exact same music, the going through the nebula. It was fun. It was a fun experience. I didn't expect Star Trek 2 vibes out of it necessarily.
But they also build into them. Genesis comes in early, like, okay, cool. And then they mention Nebula, okay, cool. Then of course the Nebula would do this. And then it all adds on organically, while still feeling a little bit silly, of course, like that many parallels. But who would have thought that in 1991, this random guy who's a flight pilot will end up being Khan 2? Who would have thunk it? It's quite a bold thing for just some guy in TNG. Damn.
The one thing that bothers me about the ending of this, though, is the same thing that bothered me about the ending of Star Trek 2. a planet, a habitable planet, needs to be a certain distance from the sun. So how is it that this nebula just happens to be the correct Goldilocks zone for a planet to form and be habitable? That kind of bugs me a little bit. Always has. It doesn't create the sun at the perfect distance. That's not part of the Genesis process.
Wait, the what process?
I'm not going to say it.
Genesis.
No, not going to do it. I knew you were going to do that. So yeah, that's one thing that bothers me. I mean, that's a very scientific thing to get that Goldilocks zone for a planet to be, and yeah, just Genesis, boom, nebula becomes a planet. Fine, it's not going to be habitable or the right temperature to support life necessarily.
Unless you target it at the place that would be perfect, then you can create that perfect. I guess you could vaguely argue that that's taken into account when it creates it, so it creates an atmosphere that's thinner to pull in sun rays more, or it creates fauna that need less sun to do M-class. Because if it's designed to make a planet's M-class, it needs to be designed to do it around the situations, or maybe the molten core is hotter, so it generates more heat, so you don't need as much sun energy because it's being vented from volcanoes. I mean, there's ways of it doesn't need to be M-class location, it's to be M-class internal structure. So if you're pulling heat from the inside, you know what I mean? Space planet. Science planet. And hey, good for Freeman. Another promotionable thing. I'm sure we're going to see that as a payoff because each season she's doing more. The Captain's Yacht was great. That felt like a payoff to last season when we saw it. Didn't see it detached though, which is a big shame. But of course, there's not really a bit on the model that can it's a brick. There's a brick bit there. You have to do a lot of remodeling. Just go. So just go. It's already out. It's already doing its thing. But that's great. Very logical. Very good. They've got a second ship. That was lovely and good assertion from her.
Well, we did see the Captain's Yacht in a shuttle bay in season 1 or 2, I believe. So it's just a inside part.
Yeah, they assumed it was still under the bit, but in a bay versus outside the ship. But it would be nice to see the bay go. But it's that's all good. But it felt good because she's got a big ship. Use the ship. But boy, blowing up, super star destroying. That's impressive. And also linking to the Krenim episode, that sort of crash and clump was very much that.
That's exactly what I saw when I saw that scene.
A lot of fun visuals, but why not if it's an excuse to? And we had, and even as I said, so many bits were pulled from early in the season, so it made sense. The Mark Twain, I laughed out loud because it was a silly, funny, stupid payoff that was like, okay, yeah, we can solve any problem. I get it.
Livik.
Yeah, that's so it was very much a season celebration. But none of the stuff were actually setups for this plot. They just all were elements you could pull from to finish the plot. Which is an odd way of doing it, but it's obviously logical. It's just, it now works in retrospect. But of course, as we've said many a time, for all of history, this is now a show we can watch all 10 in one day. This is the only time in history we'll ever watch it one at a time without knowing the end. So it's now a binge show from now on. So that's going to pay off better because you'll be able to watch it in quickly and see, okay, that's from this episode and whatever. So, interesting.
Well, I think we've covered a lot here about this, and if there's anything that we missed or anything you guys want to talk about, conveniently enough, we have a comment section. So go comment down below what you thought about this episode and have a discussion down there. Please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell icon to all so you don't miss any reviews, any ship videos, or any lives that we do. We like to do a lot of them, and we want you guys here with us because we like chatting with you guys about this kind of thing. So comment down below, do all the things, and come join us for lives.
And as you know, Stuart, when people are there at our lives, they can super chat their thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, notes noted, or hey, I worked on that shot, or like, oh my god, it's you, etc. So super chatting does help the channel. It lets us go. We have pack leads and it makes us go. Or you can super thanks on any video, pre-recorded, pre-released, or even the lives. In theory, you could do it after the fact. You could do super thanks. Any amount helps a ton. Or regular monthly donations if you want to help what we do here all the time. We aim to do it. Trekyards@hotmail.com is a PayPal. Patreon is monthly. And join the channel on YouTube is also monthly. Or buy shirts down below. Literally 1.5 billion ways. Indeed.
So until next time, he's Commander Cockings.
He's gone Foley.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.